All right, welcome back to another edition of Sling Paint Gaming. I am Berto, and today we're going to be kind of breaking it down. We get a lot of people that are new to the game that are watching our videos, and a lot of questions that we've been getting submitted to our website are, I am just getting started, I don't know where to begin, so we're kind of going to do a little video series here just to kind of break it down and just help those new people get started. And the cool part about this is I love the X-Wing community because everybody wants more people to play, because we have more people to play, more diversity, more crazy lists we see, bigger tournaments, potentially bigger prizes. I mean, a lot of the tournaments started giving some money prizes away, which is great. I know Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, as bigger the game gets, the more interesting things get, the more fun it is, the more tournament areas that become available, so you don't have to travel as far, more regionals in different areas. So what I wanted to start off with this series is talking about list building is basically not rocket science. So one of the biggest things that we always talk about is, creating lists, because there's so many different ships and so many different expansions. And when you first get into the game, you're like, holy crap, there's a lot of different things. I don't know where to begin. It doesn't have to be difficult. There's a couple secrets in here, and if I'm missing anything, definitely, always put it in the video, in the comments below, what any additional feedback or comments that you have as far as what this video is about. But first rule, keep it simple. Make sure the list is very straightforward. And the biggest thing with that is this. Paul Heaver stated right after the World Champions he just won in 2015, he even stated, he said, he goes, I didn't know what people are going to bring. He says, I just wanted to create a good, simple list. I wanted to bring good ships and play with those good ships and just play with them very, very well. And he did that. His list was very straightforward and simple. It only had one ace, which was Poe Dameron on it, and he had 2 Y-Wings and a Headhunter, and he won the World Championship with that. So that's my always rules, keeping lists very simple. The first thing that you want to do, I always look at is like bombs and outfitting bombs and stuff. And one of my biggest things is don't try to put 14 types of bombs on a particular ship, or missiles or upgrades or cannons. Keep it simple. Try to keep it to one secondary weapon. If you want to use extra munitions to get basically an extra go at that round, an extra set of rockets or missiles or what have you, do that. But don't outfit, like, if you can, 2 types of torpedoes, 2 types of missiles, or several different bombs if you're outfitting a TIE Punisher. A lot of people reason why they don't do that is because they go down really, really fast. And I want to say it's basically like wasted points. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the way I look at it. When you start outfitting several different bombs on a TIE Punisher, like TIE Punisher only has 6 shields. I'm sorry, 6 hull on it. There's no shields. It goes down really fast. And before you can even release all of your payload, right, you may go down with some of your payload still intact, and that's not good. That's considered wasted points. So keep that in mind. So the whole thing with outfitting bombs and stuff, and even keeping the list simple, is just be careful of wasted points. So that's the biggest thing. The next thing I have is be very careful of handshake lists. So what are handshake lists? These are the lists that, if you're in range 2 of somebody, and then you do this, this happens, and then that happens, and then you get an extra focus, and this focus happens, and then you get a target lock, and it goes back and forth, back and forth. Be careful with handshake lists, and reason why is this. If I'm just like the bomber, right? If I see a bomber that's outfitted with a lot of points, I'm going for that. I'm going to take that out, especially in a tournament setting. I want to take out that bomber as fast as I can and get the most points. Same thing with handshake lists. If I see there's a handshake between ships. Now, the occasional handshake like Hal Runner or I'm trying to think of some ships, like if you have an upgrade like Wingman as far as an elite upgrade, those are okay because they play with it. I mean, you're going to get the use out of that handshake. But when you start having a lot of additional handshakes and conditions or situational handshakes, people are going to target those ships. They want to take out those ships as fast as possible. So always keep that in the back of your mind. There's nothing wrong with handshakes, and I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm just saying be careful of too many handshakes, because if you have 3 different ships right? And this is the negative side of it. If you have 3 different ships and they all have handshakes between each other, as soon as you take out one ship, your handshakes are destroyed. So they, again, wasted points. Paul Heaver's list was a simple list. Each ship, right? I'm using him as an example because he just won the Worlds. But if you look at a lot of the top pro lists, are independent owned ships, like a Soontir Fell build. Like we just had the Scum win the world, the Hoth System Open Series, right? It was 3 individual contracted scout jump masters. They were heavily loaded with some upgrades here and there, but they didn't have handshakes between them. Even Nathan Ides' list, when he had Vader, Inquisitor, and Soontir Fell, they were 3 individual ships. They didn't have that many handshakes. They were all working independently of each other, but at the same time, they worked together. That's the key thing. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Also, upgrade cards. Put upgrade cards that matches either abilities or enhance each other. So like when you have Omega Leader, right, with Com Relay and Juke, they go together, right? When you have Soontir Fell with Royal Tie Guard, Auto Thrusters, Stealth Device, and Push the Limit, that goes together. Those points are worth it because Soontir Fell, as an Arc Dodger, he's going to manipulate and move in and out of the way. Omega Leaders with Common Juke Relay, with the whole evade ability that Omega Leader has, it works together. I've seen people go to the store, they're brand new, and they see all these upgrades, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to outfit, 14 upgrade cards, depending on what ship it is. As much as I can, I want to fill every upgrade slot. You don't have to fill up every upgrade slot. Just make sure that the upgrades work with either the ship's abilities, or if there is some handshaking or like a single handshake between something, keep that in mind on how you play those ships. Because if you're running a swarm, running Hal Runner makes sense. If you're running a ship that, like, say, a fortress type style setup, right, and where you're using, let's say, let's say you're using 2 Houndstooth ships and you're using Morello's Evil's Edition ship as your blocker, right? And you're stressing him out, and when you're stressing him out, you want to use another Hound or another ship that basically can unstress him. So, I mean, those key if it works together in your play style, then it makes sense. So just keep that in mind. It's a lot of people spend a lot of upgrade cards that they don't even use, and then the ship goes down, and again, it's all wasted points. Just, again, keep that in mind. Don't overthink the list, and keep things simple. Another thing that we do is, I always say any 100-point list that makes sense, and the upgrades make sense, and it's simple and straightforward, is a competitive list. You're gonna have, but the biggest thing with that is you have to figure out what the meta is. Now, what's meta? Okay, so meta is this. I'm from the technology world, right? And in the technology world, we think of everything called metadata. It's information about data. All right. Meta is when you go to a particular area or store or tournament, they may be certain types of builds that are being played. This was like in Pokemon. If you ever played Pokemon or Magic the Gathering or whatever the case may be, Pokemon had a lot of things like where new cards would come out, right, that were heavy, let's say water type Pokemons, right? Water type Pokemons had a negative effect of versus, let's say, the leaf or earth kind or fire kind, or whatever the case may be, whatever the mix match was. But if you saw a lot of the meta that were heavy water, you wanted to counteract that water, and that's what the meta is all about. So just keep in mind that when you do a 100-point list, also keep in mind what the meta is. Like, you're going to see a lot of scum ships. You're going to see probably a lot of Wave 8 ships in this that just came out in a lot of tournaments because they're new. People want to play them. Also, they have some cool abilities. They're cool ships. So how do you counteract those new ships? Like the Jumpmaster, it's got a turreted scum ship. How can you counteract that? So keep in mind when you build a 100-point list, it doesn't have to be 100 points also. It can be underneath that. And there's also some tactics that why you want not to have 100 points. A lot of people are now starting to play for the initiative bid because if you're flying around and you guys can't destroy each other's ships that much or whatever the case may be, whoever has initiative basically wins the game. So it's in the rules. Take a look at it. So keep that in mind. All right, so another thing, understand your strengths and weaknesses, okay? That's the biggest thing. When know what your strengths are as far as your ships, know what your weaknesses as far as your ships, and play to them, okay? You're not going to, let's say if you're running a Y-Wing, right, and you're running with TLT on it, you're not going to go flying in and try to get range 1 of a Y-Wing. Why? Because TLT's got a gap. It doesn't shoot at range 1, and it's outside of its arc. It only can shoot from 2 to 3. Know your strengths and weaknesses. I know that sounds simple, but what I'm trying to say is understand your strengths. You want to fly your Y-Wings a buzzard style, out and about, and let them plink away. Poe Dameron, when you're playing Poe, okay, you want to make sure that when you're playing his strengths, you want to be able to, if you're doing R2-D2, you want to do that green maneuver. If you're doing R5-P9, you want to make sure that you keep that focus on that. So know the strengths and weaknesses of your builds and lists. It's very, very important. I've seen a lot of people don't play to the strengths and weaknesses, and I'm also guilty as well too. When I first started, and even now, when I'm playing new lists, you know, I forget my strengths and weaknesses, and I keep playing them. I'm okay, I can't do that. All right, if I'm playing arc dodges, I should do this. Or if I'm playing arc dodges, I should line up this way. This is some of the things that I'm learning as I'm going and playing more and more, and as I'm getting more and more competitively too. These are the things that you have to think about. It's a strategy game. At the end of the day, it's a strategy game. So just know what your strengths and weaknesses are, just like in chess, right? You know what pawns can do, you know what queens can do, you know what bishops can do, you know what knights or rooks can do. Play to the strengths of those pieces, and same thing applies to this game. So just know what those gaps are for the weaknesses, and don't make sure you turn it to it as an advantage. All right, next, situational lists, okay? Some upgrade cards, and I'm not going to go through them all over, are just situational. Like there's a certain event like Tactician, okay? Nims may say that he likes Tactician, he uses it sometimes in his list, but I'm also not a big fan of it, because Tactician is like, it's okay, at range 2, it's a situational thing. If this happens, then you can have it. It's okay to have, pretty much every upgrade card can potentially be situational, but just keep in mind of those situational type lists. If something happens, or an ability, okay? I'm trying to think of a good example. I can't come up with the top of my head. I didn't actually put a note on my notes here for this. But just keep in mind of situational lists or upgrade cards or whatever the case may be. And again, play to the strengths and weaknesses. All right. New ships. One of the biggest things I always see a lot is when new ships come out, everybody wants to play them. And they try to make these lists, and they try to... That's fine. But just remember, Fantasy Flight Games, and I was watching an interview with some of the game designers, when they come out with new wave ships, okay, it's not like, of course they want you to buy them and use them, and everybody makes money, and everybody's happy and all that fun stuff. But the biggest thing is a lot of the old ships still work, okay? And a lot of the new upgrades that come with the new ships make the old ships come back to life. So that is one of the game designers' biggest things, and what they try to do is they try to make it where the game is dynamic. It's always evolving. It's always changing, and even incorporating some of the older stuff. So always keep that in mind. Just like in Pokemon and Magic the Gathering and all the other games that you can play, game designers want to bring back the old stuff because they want to make sure that it's not just new stuff that's the best or it works. And again, it kind of ties to the whole meta about when you're going into either a regional event or tournament or a different area, what is your meta playing? Like Wave 8 just came out with a whole bunch of new ships. You see a lot of new Jump Masters. You see a lot of new Mist Hunters. But people are still learning to play them and how trying to make lists that work with them. So just keep in mind of that. I mean, that's a big thing. Let me turn my screen back on here so I can read what I'm writing here. But the overall result is just because it's a new ship, you don't need to include it. I mean, that's the biggest thing. That is about, like I said, about list building. What I really want to show you real fast is I'm going to switch to my screen, and we're actually going to show you what tools we use to build lists. So I'm going to switch to this screen here. You can still hear my voice. This is called yet another squad builder. All right, I'll put the link below, and also put the link to all of our other resources and tools. And we're always updating this and adding. There's a whole bunch of apps out there, and also tools online where you can build lists. I like this the best. The cool part is I can manage my whole entire collection in here, so I can add all the different ships. And this thing tells me as I'm building a list or not, do I have that? Also, I can add if I buy, let's say, one-off upgrade cards from eBay or something, or what have you. It allows me to also update my collection from individual cards, so I can see what cards, what ships, everything I have, what pilots, and if I have that in order to build a list, or if I'm missing a gap. But it still lets me build it, but it just tells me, hey, you're missing something. So, like, I'm in the Rebel list here, right here. The cool part about this is when you're building a list, like, you have all your ships for Rebel, and you could switch to the Galactic Empire. You also have Scum and Villainy right at top, and that, again, changes all the ships that are here. I like this list builder a lot because the print-off features what I like about it. It's great for just copying if I just want a high-level readout of what my ship list is, or it includes some of the abilities and some of the informational text related to, let's say, bombs or you know, cannon upgrades or any secondary weapon upgrades. So, like, if I wanted to build, like I say, you know, say if I let's say T-70 X-Wing, all right? It shows me the pilots right off the bat, so I can definitely see all the pilots. Let's say if I wanted to pick Poe Dameron, so you can see that as soon as I went from Poe Dameron to Blue Novice Squadron, the Elite upgrade automatically opened up. The cool part about this list builder too is you can do this from your mobile device. You can log in using your Google account, Facebook, or what have you. It saves every list I have in here. This is pretty much our version of the Listinator. This is what stores all our lists that we get from everybody. And if you want to see, it's like we can load squad here, and here are tons of lists that we have in here that we save. And mostly it's from submissions from other people that we have, but we also tweak and we like to play with our lists and try to see make something work. All right, so here, like Poe Dameron here, I can choose an elite upgrade. So if I wanted to run, let's say, you know, VI, Vet Instincts, jump him up automatically. You can see that on the right-hand side here. If I choose Poe Dameron again, you can see with Vet Instincts, it jumps him up to a 10. You can see the 10 on the right-hand side is highlighted. It shows you the moves, it shows you the ability, shows you the action, shows the upgrades. It also tells you what kit it comes from. This is the Force Awakens core set. And it says I have 5 ships and models and 2 pilot cards in your collection. All right, so because I do have 2 core sets, and I do have 5 of the T-70 X-Wing. I do actually have them. I have 2 core sets, and I bought 3 other ones. Why I have 5, because you really can't fit 5 on the list. I bought 5 because I was going to paint some. I was going to do a Poe Dameron version. Haven't got to it yet. But if you wanted to, like cool Astromech, I can do R5P9, which just gives him that ability. At the end of the combat phase, you may spend one of your focus tokens to recover 1 shield. And with Poe's ability here, like I said, it just ties everything together. And then if I wanted to do auto thrusters on the modifications, I'm done. That's my next slip. And then if I want to choose another ship, let's say if I want to run, let's say a Y-Wing, okay? I could choose a regular old Y-Wing with twin laser turret. I'm going to choose a title card. This is cool. I like this. All right, the title card, and then I'm going to run as the title card. I'm also going to pick the Astromech, which is, I believe is R3A2, which is the stress bot. All right. Hey, let's actually build real fast. I want to put R2D2 on Poe Dameron. Okay. And then we had another Y-Wing. This was Paul Heaver's list, if I believe. Twin laser turret, and then he just had a regular old headhunter. I'm not, was he running, was he running R2D2 or not? I forget. I think he was running Vet Instincts. I believe that's the list 100%. I got to look at my database. But here, I just built a quick list. I get to see all the abilities. I get to see all the upgrades. I can delete stuff. I can copy stuff. I can put squad notes in here. Cool part about it is I can export it. I mean, this is great. You can't go wrong with it. This is a detailed view. I can do a simple view. Right? It tells me the points. I can also do some BB codes if I want to include this within a form. Sometimes form allows you the BB code for forms, which is cool. The fancy, I can print the colors, so when it prints all these colors up here, which is great. But it gives me all the abilities, tells me what everything does. I love this tool. You also, I can include a permalink in here, which basically now gives the link up here. I can share this link with other people, and basically allows me to allow people to pull up the same list in this list builder, and they can save it to their list, their version of this list builder. It's pretty cool stuff. The collection, like I said before, so you can monitor your whole entire collection. If you want to do particular pilots or upgrades and individual ones, you can call it here. Just because it says 0 here, it's part of the expansion, but these are the extras. So if you bought extras of upgrade cards or what have you, that's what this is for. But this is a great tool. I would definitely use this if you're getting starting out. This will allow you to play with ships and upgrades before you start spending a fortune as figuring out what ships you want. It's just, I think it's a cool thing. I mean, it works very well. All right, so if we go back to the squad builder real fast. It's got a card browser in here too, so you can, if you just want to search for a card, you can actually sort them by name, by points, and what have you. You can import and export. I mean, this is a great tool. You can't go wrong with this tool. But and it's got the, you know, so it's got everything in here. And it's also got those things where if there's a certain condition, like title card opens things up, like the Royal Tie Guard opens up another modification for the Interceptor. It shows it here. It automatically opens up. A lot of cool logic in here. The cool part is also it's got Epic, Team Epic, and Custom. So if you're doing a custom 300-point list, then it will start including the actual larger ships. So there's the Raider class and the Gazanti class cruisers. You can actually include them and build your ships without too. So it's really, really cool tool. I would definitely check that out. So getting back, like I said, this is, you know, this was just for list building. Again, it's not rocket science. Just keep some of these things in mind. If you guys, some of the vets out there, some of the pros, if you guys have some comments and feedback or some things you want to add to this video, leave it in the comments below. Again, this is all about helping the sport out, helping the game and growing the game, adding more people. But just keep that in mind. This is some of the strategies and tools that I use. If it helps you guys out, great. Again, leave any information or comments below, and also like our stuff. Submit if you like this video. Please like it. Likes help us. Also, if you have been watching a couple of our stuff and you like it, subscribe to us, because we try to do daily videos and try to send out a bunch of stuff every day, and about strategy, about tips, about list reviews. Also, check out our website, slingpaint.com. We put all our videos up there. We're also sharing other videos, but there's a new submit feature within our website. Right on the main navigation, you'll see submit. You can submit your custom paint jobs. You can submit your, if you want us to review a list. If you want to share some content, some videos that you want to be published on our website and our social media channels. We're all about growing the sport and sharing it. Definitely use that, and we can get your information out there. Thanks, guys.